This is a Thai-inspired meatball soup, but to make it,
We have to figure out how to make a bunch of something from nothing. And unfortunately, I don't really have much in my fridge, except ground chicken.
no eggs, no beef, no nothing. However, he does have some odds and ends, like this cilantro, which to some people tastes like soap. If so, simply replace with parsley. He removes the stems which are not trash and throws them away. Next, he separates some cilantro for garnishing later. Boop! After folding the cilantro in half, he begins finely chopping the herb into rabbit-sized pieces. After setting it aside, it's time for the bulbous cousin of the onion and repellent of Batman.
Power punch!
He slices off the stem part type thing at the bottom, then lightly smashes the garlic in order to easily remove its outer skin. With the use of a backwards garlic press, he makes quick whack of the 8 or so cloves of garlic, directly into a glass bowl. He wants all of it, so he uses the spine of his knife to scrape off as much as possible. For spice he could use jalapenos, but these pale in comparison to the red Thai chili pepper, so as a precaution he is using gloves in their handling. He removes their stems and finally chops these little devils, seeds and all, and places them into a non-reactive glass container. He's careful in the removal of the glove in order to avoid contamination of his clean hand. In a glass bowl he will add ginger paste, because real ginger is a pain and he has none in his kitchen. While adding the ginger paste, he can't help but think this looks like baby poop. Regardless, in he adds the fire, the repellent, and the soap herb, and mixes gently until decently combined. Afterwards, he separates it in half, but realizes he should have added the cilantro later. We'll cross that bridge shortly. On the stovetop, he adds a medium pot over low heat. To this, he adds coconut oil, or any preferred cooking oil for a light saute. Once warm, he adds half a cilantro mixture, making sure to keep the temperature low so as not to burn the herb, which is why he should have not added it in earlier. To the remaining cilantro concoction, he will add his ground poultry. Just ensure the removal of the pre-packaged toilet paper sheet. You could also use turkey or ground pork, but definitely not beef. He adds a decent amount of fish sauce as well as copious amounts of kosher salt. It is, after all, a decent amount of chicken. Mixing the meat seems a bit too wet, so he preps some pork rinds. However, as best as he tried, his smashing is not sufficient, and the crumbs are too large. As far as he knows, there's only one way to rectify this. The pulverizer. He adds enough pork panko to where the mixture can stand on its own when mixed. Then he preheats the oven to 375 degrees American. Setting the mixture aside, he fetches an aluminium-lined baking sheet, and since there are peppers and he doesn't want to scratch his eye or use the bathroom with capsaicin-stained hands, he again dons a set of gloves. Using his same dirty paws, he grabs a wad of meat. Rolling it between his hands, he roughly forms a 2-inch meatball. Sizes will vary, especially the last meatball. A little lower on meat, he grabs what he can, which includes stealing from another meatball. Then, once again, he carefully removes the membrane that separates him from fire, pain, and agony. These poultry balls are ready. So, into the inferno box they go. He sets about the timer for 20 minutes and, in the meantime, returns to a mature red pepper, which he proceeds to absolutely butcher. No idea what he was thinking, his julienne of the pepper is an utter fail. So much so, he has to separate his cuts by hand. Placing them into a carrying vessel, they are taken to the stove and added to the fragrant pot. A quick stir and he allows them to cook for a bit while he cleans. Because ants. Then it's time to add some sweet to the heat. He adds 2 spoonfuls of the only sweetener he has to the pot and stirs. Then we need liquid. Water works, but chicken stock is better. Always keep stock on hand. It's useful for making something out of nothing. To enhance the Thai flavor profile, he is going to add coconut milk. Brand does not matter, but Latin brands are always cheaper. The entire can is emptied and then it's time for his secret ingredient. Monosodium glutamate, or MSG. This will add amazing umami flavor and contrary to popular belief, MSG is not bad for you. Links to evidence in the description box below. He adds kosher salt, stirs, and raises the heat to achieve a simmer. Then he sets the oven to broil on high for 5 minutes. He wants some brown on that chicken. However, he can't help but feel that he is missing something. So he looks at his favorite Thai spots menu for clues, and finds them. Although he is out of fresh ingredients, he does have some random odds and ends, such as baby corn and water chestnuts. Not exactly low carb, but welcomed by non-low carbers and easily picked out and avoided. He cracks them, drains them, and adds them to the pot. Then he makes sure they mingle with the others, like his middle school dads, which is just long enough before he removes the meatballs from the broiler. Using European chopsticks, he grabs each meatball and gently lowers it into the chicken hot tub. Here, they will steep for at least 10 minutes or longer. In the meantime, he will prepare his base. Pre-packaged cauliflower rice that was hidden deep in his icebox. He adds some sesame oil, some salt, and cooks. Utilizing the great outdoors, he grabs a homegrown lime, not a lemon, and cuts it off center. And cuts off center again. Then he slices off the core, which is actually trash. This used lime slices that are easy to squeeze and release most of the juice. Utilizing the strength of 10 gorillas, he squeezes half the lime into the soup. Then the all-important taste test. He adds more fish sauce, red pepper, and from his neighbor, cow food, i.e. spinach. He lets it whittle in the soup and moves on to the final steps. He adds cauliflower rice to a bowl and fetches his soup. Using a ladle, he adds meatballs and soup to the rice, and with the cilantro he set aside previously, he garnishes the dish, along with some of the limes. And since we have limes, a nice whiskey sour would pair well. Comment down below what you've made from nothing, and we'll see you in this next video. Until then, eat well.